one of the most important things is to constantly be reflecting on what is it that gives me energy, what is it that takes away my energy, what am I good at? Sometimes you're really good at things, but they don't actually energise you.
And that's important, right? Try a number of things if you don't know what you want to do, and then work out what you definitely don't want to do.
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Sam Schlimper. I'm the Managing Director of Randstad Advisory with about 40,000 people, and this is my duvet flip.
How do you know who you are?
That is a lifelong job. Feeling a sense of disconnect or a sense of I'm just being drained slowly away every day. That you can feel it immediately. What is it that gets you out of bed in the morning? If I don't know that, I can have a list of skills as long as my arm. Nothing is going to happen. People do what they want to do and they're great at doing, and they find ways. It's like water, right? They find ways, and that's how an organisation actually works.
What does human potential mean to you?
If you look at a beehive, yeah, you have worker bees. Some of them have very specific jobs. You also have 10% of the hive, which are just scouts. They don't have a job, they're just there to solve problems.
Turn up with a beehive, and you go, look at these ones.
Yeah, totally. Get some honey.
What's your duvet flip? What gets you out of bed in the morning to flip the duvet?
At the very core of it, I wanted... Hi, I'm Sam Schlimper. I'm the Managing Director of Randstad Advisory Enterprise. Just before sitting down with Jack, I'm feeling good. I am so excited to talk about what the world of work looks like for young people. I wanted to come on my duvet flip because I think it's such a entrepreneurial, fun thing to do. Jack is full of hope, energy, and crap. Of the show in general, super professional, super beautifully set up and well thought out. Hi Jack, let's do this.
Sam, welcome to my duvet flip. How are we?
Very good, thank you. Nice way to start the morning.
Yeah, and thank you for coming and having a cuppa with me. Because I can't wait to talk about your career, your journey, and where it's taking you. But I always start here with my guest. First job, what was it? What did it teach? If Sam was looking back now at her younger self, what would she be saying?
It's interesting, right? Because your first job, it's like, is that the, waitressing, and that teaches you loads, right? Just keep going. But probably first, realist job was actually, I hadn't finished university, but I had. So I didn't complete university, but I'd finished. Came over to the UK and I was in the Christmas shop in Harrods.
Wow.
I know, so I came over this time of year and I ended up decorating trees. What did it teach me? Probably not the thing I should be doing. That was not my bag. Exciting though, had some really interesting people come through the Harrods Christmas store. But I was like, I need to find a job that suits me. So teaching me, what is it that you want to do?
And that's important, right, in terms of when you're looking for work, is to try a number of things if you don't know what you want to do, and then work out what you definitely don't want to do.
It's as important as figuring out what you do want to do. Yeah, and sometimes, to your point, try stuff, because sometimes even stuff that you think, probably not me, sometimes you're surprised by. So yeah, experimenting and doing different things, getting different experiences is super important.
And how long did you do that job for? Was it long?
Very long. It was like the Christmas season. And then I ended up actually walking down and going to Reed in the high street to find a job, and they employed me. And so that is almost where I started my career in kind of talent acquisition, hiring. That's where it began.
And did you have any idea what talent, hiring, recruitment was?
No idea. I studied law and industrial psychology. I studied law because I could. It was like, again, should not be allowed anywhere near that. But walked into Reed, they were just like, yep, come along. What was incredible about Reed, and I will never forget this, and I've taken this throughout my career, is they sent us away, you wouldn't necessarily do that now, but for training. You got to understand who the people were who were around you. And that's, I think, really important in this day and age. Who is this tribe and who can I connect with? And got to learn what to do on the job. So there was a level of confidence, even though you hadn't done something before, they gave you, instilled you with a level of confidence, a level of, I can do this, I can believe in myself, and I've got people around me who I can go to. And I have taken that throughout. Getting people to learn consistently and have great people around them, that's the secret sauce.
It's gold dust, right?
Yeah.
And how do you do that in a hybrid, remote environment? Can you do that?
I think you can. absolutely. I have a totally remote team now. So I have people from Australia all the way to San Francisco, so Sydney to San Francisco. But you just have to do it differently. So you have to find times that are purely about connecting and not about work. Because some of it is just about human connection, knowing the person, knowing what they're going through, knowing who they are, knowing what makes them tick, knowing when they have a bad day, and just being there for each other as a team. That's really important. So we build that into the way we work, and we have space for that. And so I think that's super important. I also think, and I do lots of work redesign with organizations. That's what my team spend a great deal of time doing. And part of that is thinking about what are the kinds of things you would do where you should be in person collaborating, and what are the kind of things they do where you really don't need to be. No one wants to sit in an office doing their email with their headphones on, right? It's sad when you walk into offices and that's what you see. People in their headphones doing a Zoom call. You're like, well, why would you bring them in here? Unless they want to, but why would you make them come in to be doing that? But if there are certain things and certain parts of roles and tasks that require people to come together and have that great connection, that's when some magic happens. So understanding how that works, and if you are running a team, that's super important.
There's loads of data and headlines, and can't believe a headline these days, can you?
No.
Around you're less likely to get promoted, less likely to grow if you are remote. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think that's very much about the environment you're in. And I think that's a leadership responsibility, right? Which isn't always necessarily the environment you're in, but I do think that's a leadership responsibility. So again, one of the things I think is super important for people is show who you are and be really consistent about that. Know who you are first, so self-reflect. And in organizations, great people managers know who their people are. And that's about being a great leader. And so being able to understand that, no matter whether that's in person, and of course relationships are built when you're face-to-face. So I think if you can have time face-to-face, again, where it makes sense, go and do it. But I don't think it's necessary.
And to show who you are, you mentioned know who you are. As a young person, young people tuning in, and we have all sorts of people tuning in, but even for 40 plus who's still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's a never-ending thing.
It's never ending. And you,
glad you said 40 plus, yeah.
You like that, don't you?
Yeah.
How do you know who you are?
Yeah, I think that is a lifelong job. And I think it's probably one of the most important things is to constantly be reflecting on what is it that gives me energy? What is it that takes away my energy? What am I good at? Sometimes you're really good at things, but they don't actually energize you. And I often talk to people in organizations who feel like I keep getting given this work and it really just slowly erodes me because they're good at it. So I think reflecting on where you get your energy and what takes your energy is really important. I think feedback is one of the, everyone talks about feedback being a gift. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way, right? Sometimes you're like, yeah.
Sometimes feels like a smack in the face, right?
You're like, really? And you can take it or leave it, right? That's your choice. But getting feedback and really thinking about that and spending time reflecting on why has that been given as feedback? Is that just a once-off, that's that person? Or is that a consistent theme that keeps coming? And therefore there is something that I really need to think about in that. Do I want to embrace it and go, I'm going to do it anyway? Or do I want to do something about that and think, oh, maybe I want to change that? I think it's incredible to celebrate your individuality. I also think it's incredible to think about how that impacts the others around you. And both of those things are true. Yeah. Absolutely.
And for you, so you went into Reed.
Yeah.
And they sent you on this training. You built your confidence. They taught you how to kind of do the role.
Yeah.
What made you stay?
Yeah, and I think you touched on another ingredient. I had so much fun. It is so much fun. It was so much fun. I mean, I was looking after the permanent desk, and I had just come from South Africa. I was born in the UK, but had come from South Africa, and I was looking after the permanent hiring, and I had my UK colleague looking after all the temp, non-perm, which were mostly Antipodeans at that point in time, right? Who were kind of coming in and out, and we just had a great deal of fun. And we were really keen to help people. So that was at the essence. There was an essence of, what do we need? We need to give people great jobs. Let's just do that in whatever way we need to within the rules and have a great deal of fun doing it. So that's what made me stay. I had a great deal of fun, formed some great relationships.
What makes a good recruiter?
Oh, God, that's really interesting.
Like, what in today's age, like, what makes a good recruiter? Because there's obviously a lot of... I started my career in recruitment. It gave me the confidence. It gave me the opportunity to then become an entrepreneur. I think I learned some aspects of entrepreneurship by being in recruitment. I was in educational recruitment, which was just fantastic.
Really amazing, yeah.
But for you, as a leader, what do you see as
somebody who recruits well?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think two slightly different. I think a great person who's in recruitment, and I am no longer, but that is my roots, and it's always there. One of the great things about it is you have a commerciality, right? You've got to make it happen. So you're kind of given the ingredients, and then you've got to put that together, and you have to make that happen. And so resilience, initiative, you learn commerciality around that. And where do I spend my time? And what's the payoff? I think that's super important. And you've got to love people. At the end of the day, often after you've done recruitment for a while, you kind of go, I really don't want to talk to anyone else for a long period of time. But it is about, what are you doing it for rather than just going through the process. So I think that's different. I think you asked me something different is looking for things. I mean, I am a huge believer in what I'm going to term human potential. I believe people have the ability to do loads of things. So I think there's a couple of ingredients. One is I want to know who the person is at their very core. That is my most important thing. What is it that gets you out of bed in the morning? If I don't know that, I could do whatever. I could have a list of skills as long as my arm. Nothing is going to happen. Again, when I'm talking to organizations and we're redesigning work, I will say to them, you have a list of job descriptions. If you think people are doing that in your organization, you're delusional. No one is doing their job description. Yes, there's probably some people do what they want to do and they're great at doing and they find ways, it's like water, right? Mm-hmm. They find ways, and that's how an organization actually works. So really understanding what makes that person in their very core who they are, that's what I look for. And then I go, and what do they want to do? So what are they motivated by? What are their aspirations? When those two things come together, then I can help people get the skills they need to be successful.
What does human potential mean to you? Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about human potential because I can see it's passion.
Absolutely. And I have, in my team, I have occupational psychologists who are going
Let's go there.
Who are going to go, oh, what is she going to say? Sorry, I apologise to the two of you. And so for us, human potential has different facets. It's about what is innate and can be built around that person to get them to be the best version of themselves, essentially. And in an environment, when we're talking about that at work, you have an environment around you that has certain requirements and a culture and allows you to do that or not. And so those aspects coming together. So for us, that is what we call the core inherent skills. And that is, why do you do what you do? What is the stuff that gives you energy? All of those things. Then you have skills that you learn along the way. We've just spoken about in recruitment. You learn commerciality, right? You learn to be entrepreneurial. You learn those things given circumstances. So what have you learned along the way? What do you want to learn along the way? And what are your aspirations and motivations? And that comes together to tell you that's the potential that this person, and that changes over time. Your aspirations and motivations don't stay the same. They move as you move through different parts in your career. You have different aspects of your life that changes. So it is an ongoing moving, it's not that's it, that's what their potential is. So I'm not talking about it in that sense. I'm talking about it in how it moves and flows.
And how can one sitting at home or in the office or wherever, we've had people watch this in the bath, hearing around human potential, what can they do as a next step to see their potential?
Yeah. So we've spoken about self-reflection. So I think there's a number of places. So first of all, knowing yourself and having some reflective time. I find one of the best, it's a very simple thing to do, is if you're at work doing whatever you're doing, cut your day into either hours or whatever you're doing and put in, that gives me energy, that takes energy, I don't feel anything about that. So just doing a reflective diary of where you get that. We at work use a red, amber, green and white, yeah? Red is I'm on fire, it's happening. Amber is, Green, like, so actually we have red meetings where it's the other way around. Red is like it's going to take from me. Green is I'm on fire and happening. And white is where I feel nothing, and that's probably the most dangerous part for us.
I hope you got green today.
Yeah.
Come in here.
100%.
If it's a red, we've got to change that around.
Yes, yeah, no, it's a good green today. But I think, so that's an introvert way. I think there is you've got loads of people around you who will tell you.
And do you see that in the room where you go into one room and someone's just buzzing, they're topical, they love it, and then
you can tell that. Like, you must see that all the time. You can see where people are like, I'm in my happy place, I'm in my flow, whatever you want to call that thing, 100%. And you see other times where, and sometimes it's just a bad day, right? So there's not like every time there's a consistency, but otherwise you just see people who are like, I'm here to do my job, and that's all I'm going to do. That's really dangerous for people, and it's really dangerous for organizations. Because people then are just mediocre. It's what organizations sometimes label the frozen middle. I don't believe it's a frozen middle, but it's where either the environment is not allowing people to actually show that, or for whatever reason you're doing the wrong kind of work and it's actually slowly eroding away what you want to do.
So if I'm listening in and I go, oh, how would I be able to kind of understand if I'm in the frozen middle?
Yeah.
What would be
themselves, my frozen middle, yeah.
What would I be?
What would you be feeling?
Yeah, what would you be feeling, and what would I be like?
You're feeling a sense of disconnect, or a sense of I'm just being drained slowly away every day. That you can feel it immediately. Yeah.
And what do I do in that situation?
Yeah. So I think that's going back and saying, so when is that happening? What are the kind of things that I'm doing? Or is it the environment I'm in? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's this environment is just not good for me. Then you need to get out of the environment. Sometimes it's the kind of things I'm doing are not the kind of things I should be doing. That needs to change. Sometimes it's, I'm not okay with me. I need to do some work internally. All of those things can be true, yeah? And so we said self-reflection, people around you. If you're in a work environment, you can do things, you can use psychometric testing, right? You can get a sense of what does that actually do? What does that mean? What is this telling me? Do I agree with it? Do I disagree with it? Why do I agree with it? Most of it is about the conversation rather than the thing. So a psychometric is not like, oh, that's who you are. Mm. It's about the conversation of why is it, that's what you've reflected. Why is it telling you that? What does that mean for you? Yeah.
So I use this analogy called mucky duck.
Yeah.
You've got a bath.
Yeah.
And there's loads of ducks on it. They're in it. It's clean. The water's clean.
Yeah.
And then a dirty duck, a mucky duck, will get into the bath. It will then ruin the culture by mucking the water, and then it muckies the other duck.
Yeah.
What about if I love the company, I love the work, a mucky ducks come along? Yeah. What happens in that situation? Yeah. And how do I? And
there's lots of mucky ducks.
Everywhere.
Right, everywhere, yeah. I was actually having this conversation, not at work, but in a completely different context the other day, and saying, you have it in school, you have it in everywhere, right? It's what you want to do about the mucky duck. I don't think there's one answer to that. I think there's I spot the mucky duck. Why do I think it's mucky? Do others think it's mucky? Or is it just my perspective on things? If it's just my perspective, how am I going to deal with that directly? Or if it's an environment that others are in, then in a systems way, you need to deal with that. And that's either an organization or a team or an individual thing. But I think you can't ignore that there's a mucky duck and just carry on. In some way, you need to deal with it. But that's what I was saying, figure out who you are, what your boundaries are, figure out how you best then have that conversation or deal with that in a productive way. Sometimes you're part of being the mucky duck, and sometimes you don't know that.
And that was going to be my next question. What about if you are the mucky duck?
Yeah, sometimes you are the mucky duck.
What do you do then?
So I think you've got to go and figure out, why am I becoming a mucky duck? Most people are not trying to be mucky ducks. Of course, there's always a slice of society that are mucky ducks for whatever reason, but most people aren't trying to be that. Most people have got fear, anxiety, some form of, I need to act this way because that's what I think. And often if you just peel past that, the mucky duck becomes clean again, yeah?
And then the environment becomes back to be happy, right?
That's it. And there's also times of mucky duck, right? So it's not necessarily, I don't think it's necessarily all about, there's some times where it's just something's happening and it feels mucky, and then you've all got to pile in and go, we're all responsible for getting this sorted. I think that happens a lot in organisations.
So try and solve it before you just jump out the bath.
Totally. I would say that about life though, right? Because you'll go and there'll be another mucky duck somewhere else.
Have you ever worked anywhere where there's so much of a mucky duck that you've had to say,
yeah, I'm done here.
I'm done?
Absolutely.
And that's...
Well, we won't discuss where, but yeah.
No, we don't do that. We don't do that on this show. You know that. You know that. Yeah.
No, but of course. And it's also different times. Sometimes it wasn't that way, and then you think, oh, something's changed here, and actually my time's up. I've done whatever I need to do. I've said what I need to say. It's not going to change. Sometimes that's true. Therefore, my time to go elsewhere.
And then when you do go, you leave with grace.
Of course.
And you have the higher ground, right? You put your head high, you smile, and you leave with grace and you move forward.
And some people are left going, this is a beautifully non-mucky duck environment. It was just you that thought that, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you...
I feel like we've spoken a lot about mucky ducks.
No, and I'll tell you a little bit more in the break around mucky ducks,
okay.
Because you've even put a big smile on my face because you've actually helped me with something I'm working on.
Okay.
And you're going to be quoted, so we'll...
Good.
I love it that you've helped me with the mucky ducks.
I'm going to say this to you. You've made me go back to my time in executive search. So as part of marketing and executive search, and it used to actually be a beautiful thing, we used to send people who were hiring in different organisations amazing things. I worked with these two incredibly entrepreneurial women who taught me a great deal, and I'm super grateful to them to this day. But one of the things we used to send them is like a box of apples with a rotten apple in the middle, and be like, be careful what you hire next, right? And so that was part of our mucky duck. I could send them a bath now. With, yeah.
You send them a bath with ducks in it. I feel stick with the apples.
Yes,
it might just be a bit. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And did you get good response from them?
Absolutely, because it's just people go, oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Why has marketing become a little bit boring, or has it? Like no one's sending apples. That's just genius.
Well, I was thinking the other day, why have we not done something like that? We used to do cool stuff. That was one of the things. The other thing we used to send a little box with a stone in it, and then when you turned it over, it said, "We'll leave no stone unturned."
Wow.
These were like things that people were like, "Oh yeah, I get that."
Yeah. And
I'll
also,
have a conversation with you. Yeah.
And also in today's world, and we're going to do this after the break, talk a little bit more about young people and AI. But in today's world, if someone sent me a stone and then it flipped over saying "No stone unturned, we can help you."
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, you know what, you cheeky.
Yeah, I'll give you.
Come have a cuppa. Keep your stones at home, but come and have a couple with me.
Yeah.
Because that's where I really believe I love AI. It's helped me being dyslexic, and it's helped a lot of people with their products and businesses and that. But I think this is where, especially 2026, this is where you can now be more human.
And I think those two things come together. We are all about, my team and I talk about this all the time, and I have to say, the organisations we partner with, it's one of their biggest questions. What should I be doing with AI? How should I be putting it in? Where's my return on investment? What should I be thinking about? And so it is a conversation that we have a lot. And our view is it is a human and AI together. It can be incredible. It can also be really damaging. Yeah.
Hello, Otto Sergey.
Hello, Mr. Alexander. Are you looking for a credit card?
Oh, he's good. With Otto Sergey's handy credit card feature, he'll check your chances of approval before you apply, without impacting your credit score, taking the guesswork out of finding a credit card.
Simples.
Hey, that's my line.
Young people, AI, again, we're seeing it.
Yeah.
AI's taking jobs. The marketers, when it comes to grad roles and early career roles, have gone down. What's your take on it?
Yeah, and that is true. So we've definitely seen a decline. We've got a big piece of research that is 100% true. I am going to say to you, though, organisations are looking for a different way to figure that out. So how work gets done will be fundamentally different. That's absolutely happening. And so I think there will be, for a period of time, less jobs available for young people in the traditional routes that we may have had before. And so therefore, I think the non-traditional routes and being creative around those things are going to become super important. We talked to lots of organisations about what that looks like. So what does then emerging talent coming into your organisation, how do you do that and where do you put them? The great thing about young talent, and this is literally physiological, is that you're your most neuroplastic at that age when you come into the marketplace. So your brain has actually got the most flexibility. As you get older, that flexibility just does go away. You have to work really hard at keeping that neuroplasticity. So one of the things we're talking to organizations about is with AI, what you need is loads of neuroplasticity. And actually you could get young people solving amazing problems, and not just in the traditional sense of going into, I'm going to this job and I'm doing that job, or I'm going through this career route if you're on some form of grad or apprenticeship program. But actually, how would you use them as scouts? So my team, I want to credit my team for this. If you think, I'm going to use an analogy now.
Oh, do it, come on.
If you look at a beehive, yeah, you have worker bees. Some of them have very specific jobs. Some of them have jobs of going to find food, but they're not that specific, but they're all worker bees. You have a queen, so it's the leadership. You also have 10% of the hive, which are just scouts. They don't have a job. They're just there to solve problems. So when we think about emerging talent in organizations, we talk to them about what's your 10% of your work that are just there to solve problems that don't necessarily have a fixed job, and how could you get emerging talent to do that? Because they are incredible at doing that because of that time in their life. It's not exclusive to them, but it's a great place to build your emerging talent.
I think that's a brilliant analogy, but you're not going to start sending any bees to anyone, are you?
Might be.
Why not? You're going to turn up with a beehive.
Could have some honey.
You go, look at these ones.
Yeah, totally. Get some honey. And so I think then partnering with AI and solving problems is super important. We always say that the human skills are actually becoming more and more important to partner with AI. But it's how you think about AI. Yes, it's a tool. It's also a colleague. Yeah. If I was working with you, I wouldn't treat you like a tool. I would treat you like, what's your opinion? What do you think about it? What are you great at? What am I great at? That's how we treat AI, right? Rather than handing it off to something. I wouldn't just say, oh, Jack, can you go and do that? Great. I'm not going to check it. I'm not going to work with you. Why would you do that with AI? So I think people also have to learn how to work with AI. And generally, emerging talent and young people have kind of natively done that. So they are great to bring into your organisation of how you do that in your organisation.
So do you think there's a lot more scaremongering than meets the eye?
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be smooth. So I think it will be bumpy. You know, in my world, we've spoken about a talent shortage for a long period of time in certain skill sets. I think young people also need to be smart and think about what are those things? And where am I predisposed to actually think about those things? So we were speaking earlier, that self-reflection and then going, what are those skills that are needed? What's going to be important for me? So I think two those things coming together. So I think you need to be smart. I think you need to do some research. I think you need to speak to people about what are those skills? How would I bring them? Why would that be me or not me? So I think there's scaremongering, but I think it will be bumpy. If you've got a lack of talent, AI can actually step in and be that extra talent. Again, another one of my colleagues in my team, Glenn, would say, you can double your workforce without having to double your workforce, right? So
do you know how good I have become at emailing?
There we go. There's just things that you know that's going to help you. That's going to be great for me, and I don't want it to help me here. What we don't want organisations to do, and we don't want people to do, is cognitively offload where they atrophy their thinking muscle. And I would say to anybody, including young people, don't do that. It's like being lazy. When you don't use your muscle, that's what happens. When you don't use your cognitive muscle and you're offloading it to something else, you will lose it. Your key skill is your ability to think, your ability to critically assess things, your ability to work through problems. That's who you are in a human way. Don't hand that off to AI.
How do you build that kind of culture so people don't hand things off?
Yeah.
Because people can be lazy.
Yeah, of course. Like take the easy route. And there's some days where you're like, oh. So it's really interesting. We talk about this through the education system into work system. And again, if you have always got too much on your plate and you've decided, so we've done a bit of, when do people cognitively offload? Sometimes it's because I've got 11 things and I've got time to do 5. So actually, I know I shouldn't, but I just need to get this off my plate. So in organizations, we start thinking about how do you look at metrics, not just productivity. People aren't pure like widget, but what's the value? When you start measuring by value, not productivity, that fundamentally changes. I've got this 11 things and I can only do 5, therefore I'm just going to get those done as fast as I can. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, how do you think about breaking down the things you've got to get done and where you would use it and where you wouldn't?
Interesting.
So, like, instead of thinking about a whole thing, you split it into tasks and go, this task, you just gave a great example. I don't want to write my emails. I'm dyslexic. I'm not going to, why would I spend my time figuring that through? That's not, I'm going to say, this is what I want to say. It crafts something, and then you check it and go, does that sound like me? Is that what I actually wanted to say? That
Make it sound more Essex.
Yeah, make it sound more whatever. Yeah, take out the mucky duck. I mean, my character at work, my team would know me, I'm Alice in Wonderland, yeah?
Nice.
So, yeah, that's my character, because I love everything everywhere all the time, which sometimes they can be super annoyed about, and that's not helps us be productive, but so I use it to go, how do I become, sometimes when I'm overusing that, less of that? How do I help it to prioritize? How do I use it to go, I've got these 17,000 ideas, help me craft those in a way that actually, which are the ones, how do my team, how would they take that? What have we got on productivity? So it can help you in many ways, but don't just hand it over and go, sort that out for me.
Can you see it? I think I actually saw a real one in a job description the other day, where I was looking at a job description and it says, it says ChatGPT says, they've just left that bit. They've not even done anything.
I mean, that's shocking, isn't it? It's just awful. Yeah. It's
and
just
that's the laziest version, right?
That is the laziest version. Yeah.
Read it, define it, use it as, like you said, use it as a colleague rather than just a tool and it's done, cool. Yeah. They need that report over, boom, I've not even read it. We
think about work in 3 ways with this. Self-automate, cyborg, and centaur. And there's actually organisations who study this, who do a much better job.
So say that again, self-automate.
Cyborg and centaur, I'm going to tell you. So self-automate is, there are some tasks where you can just hand it over and it's going to do a better job. So if you've got huge amounts of data to get through, you're never going to be able to process that with your human brain, and you just want it to take that data and give you some sense of what's in that data and what it looks like. That's a self-automate. What you do want to do is fact-check that and make sure it hasn't done its hallucinations or what have you. Cyborg is, we're doing things together. So sometimes coding is a great example. You and the machine are coding together. And centaur is, this task I'm going to give to you, AI, and then you're going to hand it back to me, and this task is a human task, and we're going to swap the task so we get a great outcome. And there's lots of studies done on handing over tasks and then handing over something to do and then breaking it to tasks and what would be right. If you think about that for yourself, you don't have to be in the technical world of this task. What would I bring to it as a human? What would the AI do better? And just test and learn with that, right? Organisations we work with at the moment, you were asking about, there's experimentation that happens with individuals, and some people are, this is amazing, I'm all in. Some people are like, hell no, it's taking my job. I'm not touching that. So helping people get AI democratised, because it's not democratised. It is available for everyone, but it's not.
And going into organisations that you and your team do, what would you say if you were to, there's 100 people, and in one half of the room, it's people that are embracing it, using it daily, and in the other side of the room, there's people that are saying, it's taking my job, I don't want to do it. What would be the split?
Ooh, that's a great question.
And I know I don't want to stereotype, because different organisations, different enablers. Like if you're going to a high,
different countries, different like.
What are you seeing?
So I feel like, gosh, there's lots of. I'll make a real sweeping statement here. Lots of leaders and executives going, we should use this, and there are many people in the organisation going yes and being, but actually there's quite a big portion of no. I tell you where it changes. So what's the change? Do they feel psychologically safe or not? That's when we see a swing of people embracing or not. And that's an environmental thing. So in our work with organisations, we always say, if people have psychological safety is the base thing for people to do well, no matter what. When it comes to AI, if they're safe of, my job's not going anywhere unless I have chosen it. Unless I've chosen, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work with AI. I don't want to. People can make that choice. Great. Then they're opting out. But if an organisation says, this is how we're going to do it, we're going to do it with you and not to you, that is fundamentally different.
That's where the change happens.
It's where people then go, oh, I'm no longer fearful. You have to deliver on that, though. You can't just say that's true and then do something
Put
different.
it up on the wall like you do your values and then don't deliver them.
Totally. And so we see that you get return on investment with AI when you do that with people, and the change is inherent in the process. That makes a huge world of difference. But psychological safety is where I think you get that big swing. Yeah.
And because it's whether they have psychological safety or not, that's where, does that side currently that says, I'm not interested right now, are you seeing patterns in terms of age groups, or is it actually all ages, all groups, all types of roles, or again, not to stereotype?
No, it's a real mix. I am going to say, though, the same things that we have stereotypically in the world anyway. And again, I have some incredible people in the network, some psychometrists who are doing some really interesting stuff. And
you know some really interesting people, don't you?
I do. Know some, fab people.
Sound cool.
But there's some data that I've seen that says, as an example, white men will use AI more than anyone else. A couple of reasons for that. Like if we know in the job market, white men will apply for jobs where they are just got kind of like a 50% fit. Women won't, or minorities won't. And that's because there's a self-confidence just built into the system over time. So I'm not bashing poor white men. But it's the self-confidence built in over time that's systemic. And so any minority that you fall into tends to not be as confident, therefore won't put themselves forward. So we know women need to have a much higher fit in their mind to apply for a job. The same in use of AI. If I'm not sure about it, I'll rather get more sure about it before I do something. And so there's the same stereotypes are the same thing, whether you
It's really interesting. Like, again, not to stereotype, I could probably tell you right now who would attack me on LinkedIn. But they're then what we see, and we're like, why is that? Like, is it a mirror? Is it something? Is it a reflection? Obviously, you can't be everyone's cup of tea, but you can't have, when it starts having 10, 15 of them attack you and they don't know each other, you start thinking, okay, why only this group attacking?
Yeah.
So is there also and we've had some people on the show who are, that fits that kind of type of person, who are the hardest to work with after the show, and are the most protective and micromanagement on making sure that everything looks perfect. But then you have someone like yourself or someone else come on. Yes, they want it to look good and stuff, but they're like, yeah, you know, you are the experts. You go for it.
Yeah.
So is there also a confidence issue?
There is definitely a confidence, and God, there's so many things in there when we're talking about there's so many factors in there. They're so incredible. I do think there are like any system, my God, I feel like and regime. If you are in the general powerful seat, you want to maintain it, right? Just because that's the natural way of the world. So when you're in that place, you want to maintain what's happening. When you're not in that place, you might go, I don't think that part works. Should we? But that is true of any system of power, yeah?
You spent some time at Barclays.
I did.
So tell me, so that's gone from they call it client side. Is it client side?
Yeah.
In-house?
Yeah, yes, in-house. There we go, in-house, yeah.
How
did
you find that experience? And what did that teach you about life, about work?
God, I've got some incredible friends from Barclays. So I was at Barclays for 8 or 9 years, probably the longest place I've ever stayed. And I was actually originally with Barclays Africa. So I looked after talent acquisition for Barclays Africa, which again is a bit of people are like, it's like 12 countries, 43,000 people. It's quite. And then I came over to Barclays UK, and then I looked after TA globally. Incredible people. So that theme stays, right? Surround yourself with great people who are smart, who give you real feedback, where you've got trust, and that just makes life amazing. I have what I call he's now my ex-work husband, but I had my work husband. We co-led something together, and I speak to that person, and I'm very close to my heart. I have lots of my friends and colleagues from Barclays. It was great. The financial services industry does incredible work and allows people to have access to things they wouldn't have before. And so that's an amazing thing about financial services. And that's great. It also is just a big corporate that's been around for a very long period of time. And that comes with great things and it comes with annoying things.
Like anything, right?
Like anything. So, I am a person you may tell who likes to push the boundaries, change things, experiment and what have you.
You already started to change all my decorations in here.
There we go. So, and I think they were incredible about embracing that and letting me be who I was. And then there's periods of time where actually they need to go and do something that it's my time to move on.
And when you moved on to
Randstad.
Randstad. So tell me about Randstad, what you do in your role, what does your team do?
Yeah.
And why do you get up every morning?
Yeah, it's great. Randstad's great. So I think I said it's a huge organisation that puts, I think, over 1.5 million people into meaningful work every year, right? So it has so that tells you, first of all, because I think people having meaningful work, for me, is super important. Work is, for me, more than, yes, it's paying the bills, yes, it's doing all the things that you need to do, but it's about, you have purpose and meaning around it, right? And if you can do that for people, their performance is just amazing for themselves and the organisations they work for. And so that whole premise, Partner for Talent, is one of the reasons I work for Randstad. Love my boss, so I'll give it a shout out, Mike Smith. Sometimes he drives me nuts, but he's great. He allows me to do what I do best. So he gets who I am, what I'm about, and that's a fantastic place to be, because then I can play within the boundaries in all the right ways. So that environment is amazing. My team are geographically dispersed. I said from Sydney to San Francisco. We are all over the world. We are passionate. So the team actually work with organizations to make talent strategy actually real, instead of it being just a policy or something that, so how does that actually live in your organization? Get it done, both for organizational performance and the people who do the work. That's what my team does. That can be anything from looking at branding with my, digital anthropologist, through to culture, through to how do you think about, when we think about assessing people, instead of saying, I'm assessing you for the job, how do I understand you? How am I curious about what you bring and how I can help bring that out? And then the work that has to get done. So how do we redesign work and how do we help people step into that in the right way using AI? So that's what my team does. Yeah, it's great fun.
That sounds like great fun. One, you're part of an organisation that's helping 1.5 million people a year. Yeah. You get to create and design and experiment with some of the best organisations.
Absolutely, we have amazing clients.
With people around the world.
Yeah.
Kind of ticked a lot of the boxes, haven't you?
I have. It gets to be like scenarios of future, which who the hell knows, right? But like we get to play with and we get to think about what would those scenarios be, and also more importantly with our clients, what do you want it to be? What do you want this world of work to look like? And that's amazing. Instead of just, we're in this system we spoke about earlier. There's a system that exists today, which isn't necessarily always fun and nice. What do you want it to be? And how do you create that then? The people I work with have the ability in their leadership roles to create a world of work that people want to be in, and it helps their organisation move forward. I mean, hey, living the dream.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
Now, you probably noticed that there's a red folder on the table.
A well-worn.
A well-worn red folder. You know what? You can put this through all kinds of weathers, and it still comes out like it is. So this folder is called the red folder.
Yeah.
And what the team do is they come up with some questions.
Yeah.
They're quick questions. But the funny thing is, I don't get to see them.
Okay.
Until I open it now.
I don't get to see them either.
And you don't get to see them. So they can either help us or make us...
Or we go,
stop again. So
okay, let's go for it.
I'm going to open them and I'm going to read them. You just got to give me a minute because I'm dyslexic. So the first one, what's the most unexpected place you've discovered a brilliant candidate?
Ooh, my God, it's like anywhere in the world, right? Oh, I feel like, No, I'm now like, so I once did, very much out of my comfort zone, with my sister-in-law, who was, I think, testing me to see if I would be a good sister-in-law at the time. We did a cave, underwater caving thing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so out of my comfort zone with my sister-in-law. You're supposed to pass the communication back, you know, like put your right shoulder in first so you can get through the gap. She was like, good luck. You know, I was like, oh my God.
Thanks for that.
The candidate was the person who came back and realised clearly there's a dynamic going here. I'm going to be your guide, and I was like, this person actually cares for my well-being. And they were just lovely. It was like their job was to make sure not just that we were safe and they were standing at the front doing their thing, but they were making sure we were all good along the way. Great candidate. Great customer service candidate.
So a candidate
in an underwater cave.
That is so random but cool.
So random.
That is so cool. Next one. If your career had a theme song, what would it be and why?
See, now my husband's a musician, so like music is a large part of our... So now I'm like, ooh, there are so many things. Wow. Can I have two?
You can have as many as you want.
Yeah,
It's your,
so
it's-
Don't Stop Believing, just because that's a great tune, and that's just it. Don't. Like, sometimes you have times where you think, God, what's happened here? Don't. Just figure your way out, do some self-reflection, get feedback, figure your way through it. Don't Stop Believing. Yeah. And then, you know, I'm wondering, Defying Gravity would be a good one. Like, anything is possible.
Yeah,
That's
good.
There's a theme, yeah.
I'm just thinking in my head if we can get the licenses to play them.
Yeah, I mean, Wickham's all over at the moment, but it's just like, we'd be on trend.
Yeah, we would. We would. If you could give every employee in the world one talent superpower, what would it be?
Always be thinking and knowing who you are and why you're doing things.
I like that.
You can figure everything else out.
Because once you know who you are, everything becomes easier.
Totally, because that's your thing that guides you, yeah.
And the final one, what's the funniest question someone's asked you in an interview?
Oh, I mean, funny could mean many things.
It could, or scariest, or weirdest, however you want to take it.
Yeah.
Or something that what's something in an interview that someone's gone, oh, you've gone, oh, actually, I've never had that before.
Yeah. I mean, mucky ducks are probably up there, I'm going to say. That's a good question.
Me asking you?
Yeah, it was just a good, because it was an analogy question. I'm trying to think, gosh, I've been on so many like podcasts and interviews, and it tends to be quite kind of, because it's around what I do, so understandably. It's when people go off-piece and ask you some really, who are you and what that's about. Sometimes that's scary, but in a good way.
So anything that's asking you?
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's personal to me, right? That's like not just me and this is what I do for a living and what have you. It's like, oh, hang on a second.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Well, that's it with the questions. I think they didn't do us over there, did they? I think
No,
they
were
pretty
good
cool.
questions.
Good questions, team.
Yeah.
Are you ready for my final question?
Yeah, go on.
What's your duvet flip? What gets you out of bed in the morning to flip the duvet?
It's a mix of things, but at the very core of it, I want to do work that moves the world forward and creates work that makes people joyful. If I can every day just do something that says more people will have joy at work today, one person, hundreds or thousands of people, sometimes it's a systemic thing, sometimes it's just, that's it.
Well, you've definitely done that for me today.
Yay.
I've enjoyed this so much.
Good,
It took you
yeah.
ages.
Me too.
I just want to say thank you for joining us on the show, for being your authentic self, for winding me off camera, changing all the decoration. No joke. I just want to say thank you. It's been really good to meet you, get to know you, and just my mind's just gone, okay, I can't wait to watch this back, because you're so thoughtful and deep with your
Thoughtful
questions.
and deep. That will be I put it on my LinkedIn profile.
There you go.
Thoughtful and deep.
There you go. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you.